Grinch Stole Christmas. I think that movie's out in theaters or something like that. Something close to that. Okay. Yeah, okay. Let's read this book, Dr. Seuss.
Alright, let's read the book, Dr. Seuss. Alright. Alright, lots of pages in this before we get to the story part. Every Who down in Whoville liked Christmas a lot.
I like Christmas a lot too.
Yeah, a lot of people like Christmas a lot. But the Grinch, who lived just north of Whoville, did not. The Grinch hated Christmas. The whole Christmas season. Now please don't ask why. No one quite knows the reason. It could be his head wasn't screwed on just right. Or it could be perhaps his shoes were too tight. But I think the most likely reason of all may have been his heart was too small.
Oh dear, the Grinch has a problem.
Yeah, he does. We got a problem too, called a cat. Whatever the reason, his heart or his shoes, he stood there on Christmas Eve, hating the Who's, staring down from his cave with a sour, grinchy frown at the warm lighted windows below in their town. For he knew every Who down at Whoville beneath was busy now hanging a mistletoe wreath. And they're hanging their stockings, he snarled with a sneer. Tomorrow's Christmas is practically here. And he growled with his Grinch fingers nervously drumming. I must find a way to stop Christmas from coming. For tomorrow, he knew. Ooh. What does he know? What does he know? Tomorrow he knew. Let's get to the next page. All the Who girls and boys would wake bright and early. They'd rush for their toys, and then all the noise, noise. And that's one thing he hated, the noise. Mary. And all them loud, rackety toys. The noise. Let's see. And the Who's, young and old, would sit down to a feast, and they'd feast, and they'd feast, and they'd feast. And they would feast on Who pudding and the rare Who roast beast, which was something the Grinch couldn't stand in the least. They'd have a big Christmas dinner.
I have a Christmas dinner too.
Oh, we all do. Okay, I'm trying not to skip any pages. And then they do something he liked least of all. Every Who in Whoville, the tall and the small, they'd stand close together with Christmas bells ringing, and they'd stand hand in hand, and the Who would start singing, and they'd sing, and they'd sing, and they'd sing. And the more the Grinch thought of this Who Christmas sing, the more the Grinch thought, I must stop this whole thing. Why, for 53 years I put up with it. Now I must stop this Christmas from coming. But how?
I don't know how he's gonna do it. It must be magic or something.
You think he's actually going to stop Christmas from coming? Whose side are you on, Tabitha? Then he got an idea, an awful idea. The Grinch got a wonderful, awful idea. It's a wonderful, awful idea. Look at his red eyes. Or actually, I think they're quite pink, but okay. I know just what to do, the Grinch laughed in his throat, and he made a quick Santa Claus hat and coat, and he chuckled and clucked. What a great Grinch trick! With this coat and this hat, I look just like Saint Nick. All I need is a reindeer. The Grinch looked around, but since reindeer are scarce, there was none to be found, and that stopped the old Grinch. No, the Grinch simply said, if I can't find a reindeer, I'll make one instead. So he called his dog Max, and he took some red thread, and he tied a big horn to the top of his head. No!
Poor dog.
Poor dog. Then he loaded some bags in his old empty sacks. On a ramshackle sleigh, he hitched up old Max. And then the Grinch said, "Giddy up!" And the sleigh started down toward the homes where the Who's lay a snooze in their town. Let's get excited. Yeah. Well, camera won't focus. There you go. He's coming down to Whoville with the dog. Okay. All their windows were dark. White snow filled the air. All the Who's were all dreaming sweet dreams without care. When he came to the first little house in the square, "This is stop number one," the old Grinchy claws hissed, and he climbed to the roof, empty bags in his fists. He slid down a chimney, a rather tight pinch. But if Santa could do it, then so could the Grinch. He got stuck only once for a moment or two. Then he stuck his head up the fireplace flue, where the little Who stockings all hung in a row. These stockings, he grinned, are the first thing to go. Oh my.
Oh no, I'm scared.
He slithered and he slunk, but smiled most unpleasant around the whole room, and he took every present. Pop guns and bicycles, roller skates, drums, checkerboards, tricycles, popcorn and plums, and he stuffed them in bags, and the Grinch very nimbly stuffed all the bags one by one up the chimney. He took all her presents. Then he slunk to the ice box where the Who feast. He took the Who pudding. He took the roast beast. He cleaned out that ice box as quick as a flash. Why, that Grinch even stole the last can of Who hash.
He took all their food? It's mean.
Well, Tabitha, the Grinch is kind of mean already. And he stuffed all that food up the chimney with glee. "And now," grinned the Grinch, "I will stuff up the tree."
He takes their tree too. Oh, it's mean.
Well, he takes the tree too. And the Grinch grabbed the tree and he started to shove. Then he heard a small sound like the coo of a dove, and he turned around fast and saw a small Who, little Cindy Lou who was not more than 2. The Grinch had been caught by the tiny Who daughter, who got out of bed for a cup of cold water. She stared at the Grinch and said, "Santa Claus, why are you taking our Christmas tree? Why?" "Why, Sandy? Why are you taking the Christmas tree?" What do you think he said? Do you think he told the truth? But you know, that old Grinch was so smart and so slick, he thought of a lie, and he thought it up quick. "Oh, my sweet little tot," the faint Santa Claus lied. "There's a light on the tree that won't light on one side. So I'm taking it home to my workshop, my dear, and I'll fix it up there, and I'll bring it back here." And his fib fooled the child, and he patted her head. He got her a drink and set her to bed. And when Cindy Lou Who went to bed with her cup, he went to the chimney and stuffed the tree up.
Liar, liar, pants on fire.
Liar, liar, pants on fire. Then the last thing he took was the log for their fire, and he went up the chimney himself, the old liar. On their walls he left nothing but hooks and some wire, and the one speck of food he left in the house was a crumb that was even too small for the mouse. And they show the mouse like, I can't eat that, I'm hungry. Poor mouse. Okay. Then he did the same thing to the other Who houses, leaving crumbs much too small for the other Who mouses. Okay. It was 1/4 past dawn, all the Who's still in bed, all the Who's still a snooze when he packed up his sled, packed it up with their presents, the ribbons, the wrappings, the tags, the tinsel, the trimmings, the trappings. Man, he's got a big sled full of stuff. All that stuff. "3,000 feet up the side of Mount Crumpet, he rode with his load to the tip-top to dump it. Pooh-pooh to the Who's. He was Grinch-deally humming. They'll find out now that no Christmas is coming. They'll just wake up. I know just what they'll do. Their mouths will hang open a minute or two, and then the Who's and Whoville will all cry, boo, boo. Oh, here comes somebody else crying boo-hoo. That's a noise, grinned the Grinch, that I simply must hear. And he paused, and the Grinch put his hand to his ear. But he did hear a sound rising above the snow. It started in low, then it started to grow. Oh my, what's he hear? He's like, ooh, what am I hearing? What is he hearing? What is he hearing? It started to grow. But the sound wasn't sad. While the sound sounded merry, it couldn't be so. But it was merry, very. He stared down at Whoville. The Grinch popped his eyes and he shook, and what he saw was a shocking surprise. Oh my, what's he see?
Turn the page.
Okay, hold on, Tabitha. Every Who down in Whoville, the tall and small, was singing without any presents at all. He hadn't stopped Christmas from coming. It came. Somehow or other, it came just the same.
No! Stop! No! Let me get this straight. Those Who's down in Whoville were singing. The Grinch was supposed to stop Christmas from coming. You mean it came anyway? Inconceivable. Inconceivable. This book is going to have a happy ending. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it.
Well, thank you, Grumpy, for interrupting our story time. But we'll continue reading now.
I hate it.
Okay, you hate it. And the Grinch, with his Grinch feet ice cold in the snow, stood puzzling. How could it be so? It came without ribbons, it came without tags, it came without packages, boxes, or bags. And he puzzled 3 hours, till his puzzler was sore. Then the Grinch thought of something he hadn't before. Maybe Christmas, he thought, doesn't come from a store. Maybe Christmas, perhaps, brings a little bit more. So, the Grinch stood there for 3 hours thinking about this in the cold snow. You know, he could have thought about that at home, in the warm. And what happened then? Well, in Whoville, they say that the Grinch's small heart grew not two, three sizes that day, and the minute his heart didn't feel quite so tight, he whizzed with his load through the bright morning light, and he brought back the toys, the food for the feast, and what?
And what? And what happened? What happened?
Okay, what happened? What happened? He himself, the Grinch, carved the roast beast. And that's the end. Yep, that's the end.
Wow, that was a good book. I wonder if the Grinch movie's like that. Was the Grinch movie like that? I haven't seen it.
I don't know if the Grinch movie out in theaters is like that or not. We'll have to just wait till it comes out on DVD.
Yeah, I guess. We just wait till it comes out on DVD. This thing is playing.
It's like it is, ain't it?